Intimacy is not a choreography, it is a conversation. A silent one, yes, but a conversation nonetheless, spoken through breath, through presence, through the way two people listen to each other without a single word. And yet, for many couples, physical closeness becomes a script they repeat rather than an experience they co-create. We focus on the movement instead of the meaning. We memorize techniques but forget to feel. We seek excitement but overlook the quiet signals that invite us deeper. The deepest intimacy begins long before there is any physical closeness because connection is not built by proximity but by emotional presence. When two people enter a moment of intimacy, they do not carry only their bodies with them, they carry their histories, fears, hopes, and the silent questions they may not even know how to articulate. Women, in particular, often respond most deeply to a partner who understands that closeness is an emotional exchange before it is a physical one. Emotional presence means showing up with attentiveness, not distraction. It means being tuned in to the mood of the moment, reading subtle cues, and offering warmth through gentleness, tone, and the energy you bring into the space. When someone feels emotionally safe, their body can relax and open. When they feel emotionally unseen, their body naturally protects itself. Emotional presence becomes the bridge that allows two people to meet in authenticity rather than performance. Communication is one of the most underestimated foundations of intimacy, yet it shapes every experience. Communication here does not necessarily refer to long conversations or explicit instructions. It is often quieter, softer, expressed through checking in, through asking how something feels, through noticing shifts and responding accordingly. It is the ability to express desire without pressure, to voice curiosity without insecurity, and to create an atmosphere where both partners feel free to express what they enjoy or what they need adjusted. Many women value partners who are not afraid to communicate because communication signals maturity, consideration, and emotional responsibility. When communication is present, it becomes easier to enter a moment without fear of misunderstanding or expectation. Mutual curiosity is another essential element, because intimacy thrives when both people bring an attitude of exploration rather than assumption. Curiosity means being willing to learn a partner's rhythms, preferences, and sensitivities. It means understanding that intimacy is not routine but a living interaction that evolves from day to day. When a partner is curious, they do not rely on habits, they stay engaged. They pay attention to the present moment, allowing the experience to unfold uniquely rather than repeating what worked once. For many women, this sense of being discovered and rediscovered creates emotional depth that enhances physical closeness. Together, emotional presence, communication, and mutual curiosity create a foundation that transforms intimacy from something mechanical into something meaningful. They shift the experience from doing to being, from technique to connection, from performance to partnership. Before any physical position matters, this emotional groundwork determines whether the experience will feel fulfilling, safe, and deeply connected. Most women prefer positions that allow connection, eye contact, and a sense of safety because intimacy is, at its core, relational rather than mechanical. When a woman feels emotionally connected, her body responds with openness, trust, and presence. Eye contact, for example, is one of the most powerful forms of nonverbal communication. It conveys sincerity, desire, reassurance, and attentiveness without needing a single word. It allows two people to synchronize emotionally, sharing a moment in which both feel seen and acknowledged. In many intimate experiences, the quality of eye contact can determine the level of comfort and connection far more than the physical arrangement of the bodies. When a woman can see her partner's face, she can read their intentions, feel their affection, and trust that the experience is being shared rather than performed. Connection is not only visual, it is emotional. The positions many women gravitate toward are those where the emotional rhythm between partners feels aligned. This alignment comes from closeness, where the partner's breath, heartbeat, and subtle movements create a sense of unity. A position that brings two people physically near each other encourages a mutual exchange of energy, warmth, and attentiveness. In such moments, a woman is not evaluating technique, she is feeling the emotional language being spoken through touch, pressure, responsiveness, and presence. When the emotional tone is right, the physical experience becomes meaningful rather than transactional. Safety is another essential component, not in the sense of fear or danger, but in the sense of emotional grounding. A woman tends to feel most receptive when her nervous system is calm, when her partner's presence feels steady and respectful, and when the environment feels unhurried. Safety emerges when she senses that her partner is attuned, patient, and considerate of her comfort. Many preferred positions naturally support this because they encourage closeness rather than distance, cooperation rather than force, and gentleness rather than intensity. When a partner moves with awareness, responding to subtle shifts and cues, it deepens this sense of safety and fosters even greater openness. The preference women have is often misunderstood. It is rarely about physical convenience or novelty. It is about emotional accessibility, the ability to connect deeply, and the reassurance that she is not alone in the moment but with someone who truly wants to share the experience with her. When connection, eye contact, and safety are present, intimacy becomes more than a physical act. It becomes a shared emotional journey that feels grounding, fulfilling, and profoundly human. Understanding each partner's comfort, pace, and cues is far more important than any physical arrangement because intimacy is fundamentally an act of attunement. Every person carries a different relationship with touch, closeness, desire, and emotional vulnerability. When two people come together, they are bringing not just their bodies but also their internal landscapes. A partner who pays attention to these subtleties creates an environment where intimacy feels organic rather than pressured. Comfort is the foundation of this experience. If one partner feels tense, uncertain, or rushed, the body cannot relax into the moment. Many women, in particular, respond deeply to a partner who notices how comfortable they are, adjusting gently rather than assuming readiness. Comfort is communicated through posture, breath, facial expressions, and the softness or stiffness of the body. When a partner is attentive to these cues, they can respond with presence rather than assumption, making the experience feel collaborative. Pace is another critical element because intimacy unfolds differently for each person. Some moments require slowness, allowing emotions and sensations to build gradually, while others grow from spontaneity and shared excitement. What matters most is not the speed but the synchronization. Partners who recognize the importance of pace understand that it cannot be forced or controlled. It must be listened to. A woman's pace might shift depending on her mood, emotional state, or the level of connection she feels in that moment. A partner who respects this rhythm creates safety and trust because they show they are not there to rush toward an outcome but to experience the moment fully. When pace is honored, intimacy becomes more fulfilling because it flows naturally, without strain or misalignment. Cues are the language of the body, and learning to read them transforms the quality of connection. They include small movements, shifts in breathing, changes in expression, sounds of pleasure or hesitation, and the way a woman leans closer or pulls slightly away. These cues are invitations, boundaries, and expressions of desire all at once. A partner who listens to them shows emotional intelligence and sensitivity. They adjust when the body communicates discomfort, and they deepen connection when the body signals openness. This responsiveness reassures a woman that her experience matters, that she is not being overlooked, and that her partner is emotionally present with her rather than simply following a script. When comfort, pace, and cues are prioritized, intimacy becomes a shared creation grounded in awareness and mutual care. The experience becomes less about doing something right and more about tuning into each other, allowing the moment to guide the experience. The correct way in intimacy is not about precision or predefined steps but about the ability to attune, adjust, and respond with genuine sensitivity. Many people mistakenly approach intimacy as if it were a set of instructions to execute or a performance to master, believing that accuracy or technique will automatically create fulfillment. But real intimacy is not a mechanical act, it is a living interaction between two people whose emotions, needs, and energies shift from moment to moment. What feels right in one moment may feel different in the next, and what one partner enjoys deeply may not resonate in the same way for another. Sensitivity is the ability to perceive these shifts without being told explicitly and to respond in ways that express care rather than ego. It is a form of emotional intelligence that transforms physical closeness into a meaningful experience. Attunement begins with presence. When a partner is fully present, They notice details that others overlook: the change in breathing, the subtle movement of hands, the tension or relaxation in the body. These cues guide the flow of the moment, showing what needs to slow down, what feels comforting, or when a slight adjustment brings deeper alignment. Attunement is a practice of listening with the whole body, allowing intuition and empathy to lead rather than habit or assumption. When a woman feels that her partner is attuned to her, she experiences a deeper sense of trust and connection because she knows she is being felt, not just touched. Adjustment is what keeps intimacy dynamic instead of static. It is the willingness to shift positions, pace, pressure, or approach based on how the moment evolves. Some partners become so focused on doing something right that they ignore the feedback being communicated, even unintentionally. A more fulfilling approach is one where both people continuously adjust to each other, creating a flow that feels natural rather than forced. Adjustment also communicates humility, the understanding that intimacy is not about perfection but about exploration and responsiveness. Sensitivity weaves these elements together. It is the emotional softness that allows one partner to honor the other's boundaries, desires, and comfort without judgment or frustration. Sensitivity means slowing down when needed, checking in without breaking the moment, and treating intimacy as a shared experience rather than an individual achievement. A sensitive partner recognizes that the emotional climate of intimacy matters as much as the physical one. They understand that vulnerability is involved and respond with warmth, stability, and patience. When attunement, adjustment, and sensitivity guide intimacy, the experience becomes deeply connected because it honors both partners equally. It allows the moment to unfold with authenticity, turning physical closeness into emotional resonance and shared meaning. Intimacy expands when partners prioritize connection over performance and exploration over assumption, because true closeness is not built from routine or expectation but from the willingness to stay curious about one another. Many people enter intimate moments assuming they already know what their partner wants, relying on past experiences or general beliefs rather than paying attention to the present. But intimacy is not static. It evolves with emotions, life circumstances, stress, confidence, and the depth of the relationship. When a partner approaches intimacy with the mindset of performance, they often become preoccupied with doing things right, impressing the other person, or achieving a particular outcome. This focus can create pressure, tension, and a sense of distance because it shifts energy away from connection and toward self-evaluation. When performance becomes the priority, the moment loses its authenticity and becomes something rehearsed rather than shared. Choosing connection instead means being emotionally present, responding to one another, and valuing the shared experience more than any specific action. Connection makes room for vulnerability, laughter, tenderness, and honest communication. A connected partner does not rush, does not assume, and does not operate from a script. They lean into the emotional mood of the moment, creating an environment where both people feel understood and accepted. For many women, this emotional tuning is what transforms intimacy into something meaningful, because it offers reassurance that they are not just participating but being cherished. Exploration is another essential aspect because it encourages both partners to remain open, flexible, and curious about each other. Exploration removes pressure by shifting the focus from outcome to discovery. Instead of worrying about whether something is perfect, partners allow themselves to try, adjust, communicate, and learn. This openness makes the experience dynamic and alive, helping couples break out of predictable routines and rediscover each other with fresh eyes. Exploration also invites both partners to voice their desires and boundaries, creating a space where mutual comfort and pleasure can naturally unfold. Assumption, on the other hand, limits intimacy by closing the door to new experiences. When one partner assumes they already know what works or what is wanted, they unintentionally ignore the evolving nature of desire. Over time, these assumptions can create emotional distance because the experience becomes repetitive or out of sync. Partners who choose exploration over assumption continually deepen their understanding of one another, building trust through responsiveness and adaptability. When connection and exploration guide intimacy, the result is a richer, more fulfilling experience that honors both partners. It becomes a shared journey shaped by communication, curiosity, and emotional presence rather than pressure or expectation.